Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe. Thank you so much for staying with us. And on Wednesday, we talk about topics that we listen and we do not judge. Today, we're talking about toxic relationships. And I have a very huge panel here to help me talk about this. And when you talk about toxic relationships, it's not only about romantic ones. We have familial, we have platonic, we have friendships, and even professional. So we'll be talking about that. I have a panel of 6. Just right here, we have Grace Kimaru, a social scientist, right? Sure. We have Perez Corazon, an entrepreneur, right next to Grace. And we have Gloria Kimani, a mental health practitioner. And we have Gladson Owamo, that is a mental health ambassador. And we have Frank Okanga, youth leader. Karibuni sana. And right next to me is Dr. Julius Kimani, a counseling psychologist, who will help us just to understand this topic. And I want to start with you, Dr. You know, when we talk about toxic relationships, this is a term that some say it's often misused. So for the benefit of our viewer and just to break the ice for us, what is toxic relationships?
Thank you so much. I think the easiest definition would be any relationship that undermines your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being. Seriously undermines. And all of us, if you look at life, we have enjoyed or been involved in a place where we can say we have been in a
just hold on there. Let's start with the panel and then I come back to you. So Grace, I want to start with you. What is your definition of a toxic relationship? How does it look like for you?
A toxic okay, first of all, let me start by saying any relationship, friendship or whatever should add to you, not take from you. So any relationship that drains you, that deprives you of something, that is a toxic relationship.
Corazon?
As for me, toxic relationship, according to my understanding, is something that you feel you're emotionally abused, depending on how you're related to someone, whether a friend, whether a sibling, whether in workplace, any place that you feel you're emotionally abused, I feel that's being in a toxic relationship.
And Gloria, I know you have very, very great stories. You're a mental health advocate. And for you, I know toxic relationships, when we talk about it, it could mean so many things for you. So how exactly will you describe this?
Okay, for toxic relationships, I'll actually base it under maybe family, first of all, work-related. Then we also have friendships and intimate relationship, like maybe if you have a boyfriend or a husband. And if you find that all those relationships, they're removing, like they're stressing you, maybe they're becoming physical, they're emotionally torturing you, and psychologically, that's when you'll term them to be toxic relationships. Yeah.
Frank, the men are here as well, and it's so interesting because now we also get to hear from them. It's not always that when we talk about toxic relationships, men are involved. So, Frank, first of all, you see, men don't talk much about toxic relationships. Sure. How would you describe this? I don't want to say it's a phenomenon, but how would you describe toxic relationships?
First, it's a huge topic. Because first of all, it is something that is ongoing. And with our generation, it seems that it will continue happening. Because you find men don't talk about it. Because you find there are a lot of men who are suffering in this huge topic of toxic relationship. You find maybe someone has a partner who is demeaning him or her, someone who cannot support him or her, someone who, most of times, it's always about negative criticisms. You find, like, for example, even like maybe today I'm here, maybe I've shared that tomorrow I'll be visiting TV47, but you find she doesn't mind about it. Like it's just like a normal thing, you know. So it's something that it deals with the emotional draining. It's something that you're in a relationship, but you're not happy. You're not enjoying that you're in a relationship. Yeah. So yeah.
So Gladson, Frank is saying that this is something that is going to continue happening in this generation. Would you agree, and what does toxic relationship look like to you?
First, thank you so much for having me here, and I would want to say this. First, to me, a toxic relationship is any relationship that is driven by selfish desires. Selfish desires means that you want it for you, the way you want it, and the other person's feelings, emotions and maybe way of thinking doesn't matter to you as a person. And yes, it's bound to continue, because as much as people are becoming even more civilized, they are becoming, instead of being assertive, they are being even more aggressive. Someone wants to make sure that I get more, I have more, and I look like the one who is dominating in this relationship. And so many factors are to be blamed for this, because you find there are factors like money, there are factors like the physical appearance of a person, and there are so many other things that bring this difference. You find that if I have more money in the relationship, I want to be the dominating factor. If I'm bigger than you, I want to be the dominating factor. And you'll find that all these things will forever be with us. So it is something that is not ending anytime soon, unless maybe we decide to focus more on our upbringing as people, whereby now we try to educate ourselves on looking at people, not the way they are, but mostly from the human perspective. Yeah, you are a human being, I'm a human being, and we both deserve respect. Yeah.
Corazon, I want to come to you this question. Frank pale amesema, for example, amesema anakuja TV47 and the girl doesn't even say anything about it. You know, there are some people, just women, who are very nonchalant. So would we term that as being toxic if you do not have a reaction? Umeniambia you're going to TV47, it's okay, you go have fun. So when we put into consideration that there are people who are nonchalant, is that something to put into place?
Yeah, okay. Okay, for his example, of course, if I'm a good partner, a loving partner, all his interests should be my interest. And I should be there to support, regardless of whatever, even if it's not my field, I should be there to support, to know what's about this thing you're going to do. That shows how you're a supportive person. But if you're like, it's not my problem, and this is like you've decided to be a long life partner with each other, and at that moment, the little things are always important. And if he sees like you're not putting into consideration what he tells you, he will feel like this is not something I wanted. Because let's say in bigger things, maybe important things, you'll not even put it in your heart, and that will be so bad. So I think you should be considerate. Being nonchalant is not something nice.
All right.
Yes.
Sawa. Now, Daktari, let me get back to you. You see, I want us to focus first of all on romantic relationships. Usually sometimes when we're getting into these relationships, it's centered on love. But at what point does it now get toxic?
I think the greatest challenge we have in most relationships is number one, expectation. People come in, as I think some of them have mentioned, you come in with your selfish desires. And you have the expectations in your head, you don't communicate them to your partner. Your partner has expectations, they don't communicate. And when that communication already is not on the table, now when the other person does not fulfill what was expected, there will definitely be feelings of, something wrong, it's not working. And if it is long term, somebody may begin to define it as toxic. And you see, to be toxic, I think I would define it in a very easy way. I would give an example. We all maybe somehow have cooked with a jiko.
Yeah.
Iyo moshi. Tunaivuta kidogo, but it doesn't kill us. And we can survive. But there is another situation whereby you could be in a place and there is a fire and there are toxic fumes that can actually cause you to die. Now, there are levels where you find in a relationship, what you're expecting in that relationship, nothing is coming out of it. You are either giving out everything, but the other person is not giving back. Now, when there is no mutual giving and receiving, and it is not about negative giving, because there could be giving of blows. We are talking about good giving. So if there is no mutual giving, to a level that is understandable, not, there are people who come with crazy dreams that are not achievable. I remember one guy who when we were getting married those years, I've been married for 25 years. The first time, the lady said, I'm expecting for us to have a car in the first year. Now, tumshahara ni 18,000. Now, that is a crazy dream. Now, that person will eventually drive the partner to a level of disappointment and a lot of pain, simply because of expectations. So I say the first thing that is important in a relationship is what expectations are there. Then you have to look at them very keenly. Are they viable? Just like an organization. You come in, you have viable goals. Some of the goals that you will hear in romantic relationships are crazy. So you put those crazy things, already you have become toxic from the beginning. So we have to be careful on what expectations are putting on the table for our partners. And then sit down with somebody who has gone that journey and review those expectations and see whether they are viable or they need to be maybe lowered a little bit. Yes.
When you talk about now these romantic relationships should be mutual giving and not negative giving, now this positive one. Are those not expectations that you're putting on the other person? Because we talk about you should love the other person in their own love language and not yours. So maybe what you're giving me is not what I want to be given. Now, doesn't that fuel this toxicity in these relationships?
No, definitely, everybody comes into a relationship expecting. It's just like an organization. You come into this organization, they're expecting something from you. You went to school, you have a degree, they expect you to deliver. And they also come and tell you, as you deliver this, we are also going to be paying you this. Now, the reason why somebody will pull out from that deal is when they see they're not getting what they wanted, or if it is too low. But if there is a mutual understanding that I can be able to give this as you give this, that is actually very viable. Because everybody, as you've said, their languages, everybody, you are, for example, I will use a tribe, but I'm not tribal. Assuming you're a Somali and I'm a Kikuyu. And I come and I speak to you in Kikuyu and you have no understanding of Kikuyu. That means I'm not giving you, I'm not talking your language. So that's what we are saying. In a relationship, both of you have to come in and begin to speak the other person's language, because they will only understand when you speak their language. And they also have to speak your language, and that means both of you have to sacrifice and get to know each other's language. Or you get a mutual language that both of you understand, either English, and then you can be able to flow into that relationship. So expectations are not wrong, because everybody has got something to give. But you have to ask yourself, does that person, do they have what it takes to be able to keep this relationship in a healthy way? Yes.
All right, Grace, maybe what could be your expectations when getting into the deal breakers for you? Something that could make you say, this is not what I want, I'm going.
Okay, one is someone who has not worked on themselves, or they are not even willing to. You might find someone that is not there yet, but they're willing to work on themselves, yeah? So for me, that's it. That's the greatest deal breaker. Because we all have our shortcomings, but are you willing to get yourself to the next level? Are you willing to become a better person and make this work? So that is it for me. That's my deal breaker.
And Gloria, I know you have very, very great stories. Maybe if you do not mind, you could tell us the things that you saw in your relationship that you said, I'm not being loved the way I need to be loved.
Okay, thank you so much. So as I mentioned before, I was in a romantic relationship. From the start, of course, it's love. You love someone. It's love at first sight. You love them. You are there with them. Then as the relationship grows, like, I don't know, like you find that some people hide their behavior. Some people are very good in hiding their behaviors. So like you meet someone, he's so good, he's quiet, because I love men who are quiet. I don't love men who are rowdy. Like, I mean, why are you rowdy? You're a man, just be calm. So I'm like, you're quiet, you're my type. Then into the relationship, you just start realizing someone is becoming angry, is becoming toxic, at the extent that they even become physically violent. Yeah, so yes, I was in a relationship and it ended up in being a violent one. Yeah, it was very violent. I was even admitted in hospital for like a week. I took a month to get well, but yeah, I came out of that relationship. Took me time to come out and speak up, because that time when I was in that relationship, I never knew like you could report actually, because I was back in school in campus. So I was like, if I report, he will kill me, because he had said, if you report, I'll kill you, I kill myself. So I'm like, okay, I won't report, he'll kill me. So of course you'll believe. because in such relationship, there's a way they make you there's a way they diminish you and they make you believe that you'll be killed, of course. But now, because I came out of the relationship, right now, I work as a sexual reproductive health rights advocate and activist, and we've been championing and advocating against GBV, and we actually refer cases of GBV, and we take action to anyone who is involved in those cases. Yeah, so yes.
Now, in your case, for how long did this go for, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, so like I was in the relationship for 4 years. Of course, when he started, I was like, of course he'll change, you know, you give them time, he'll change, tomorrow he won't be angry, but of course it doesn't happen because there's usually a cycle. So when it begins, they'll start with the violence. It will come like today, maybe they slap you, they abuse you, because maybe sometimes they can even be financially violent to you. They control your finances and all that. They guilt trip you for anything you do. Like you can't even do something, you need like to get the approval from the other person. And now when it was happening, I was actually like, it's okay, you know, he'll change one day. But it never changed. So I was there just hoping for the best, but I took time actually to get out of the relationship because it was now based on fear, because I was fearing the other person. I was not even loving them. So I was like, oh my God, I need to get out of this relationship and run away. That's where I got to, but yeah. I'm glad that I was able to get out of that relationship, and I did that because I had to relocate from the place I was staying to another place. So it helped.
Now, Frank, I want to get to you, of course, to also bring the men in. Why do you not speak much about it as men? Who is silencing you guys?
You know, Anne.
I love that.
I think we all have to start addressing this issue from accepting it that we are moving as a people, but there are people who are moving thinking that they healed from previous relationships, but indeed they have not healed. We are working with people who, they're just jovial, they're happy people, but they did not heal. I don't know, if you don't work on that and you get into another relationship, you see, you're having different expectations. Again, you've not healed. You see, now getting a new relationship, the capability of it being toxic, it's very easy. Because the other person maybe has settled, you've not settled, you still have doubts. What will happen, you know? And again, having gone in a toxic relationship for almost 2 years, in fact 3 years, I have a full experience of what a toxic relationship can be to a man. You see these men out here, they don't talk. And in fact, these men you see out here, very jovial people. You don't just know what
When you say they don't talk, my question was, who is silencing the men? Is it stigma? Why don't you talk even among you as men?
I think what makes us men don't talk about it, you see, men, we handle a lot of things. There is work, there is family, there are other activities out there. You have goals, you have dreams. So you find sometimes talking about it so much, you don't know who are you sharing to, you know? So sometimes that pride in men, you know, men will always be proud of themselves. That pride nature that we've grown up, we've been raised with it, it doesn't give us space to, you see, communicate, not like ladies. Again, as men, you see, men, I'll be having something itching me, but the moment we get to another group of other men, we don't talk about it. We talk about other things. We talk about dreams, goals, achievements, and all that. So that helps us to keep it moving. But inside, we are being disturbed. So you find as a man making a decision, and again, you know, when you're a man, anytime you make a decision, you'll be judged. Whether you're making a right decision or a wrong decision, someone will always judge you. They'll always say, maybe nowadays he has money. That's why he has left that lady. So sometimes such things make men to remain silent. But inside, maybe he's contemplating on whether to make that decision or not. Yeah.
Now, Gladson, just to bring you in as well, have you had an experience with toxic relationships?
Yeah, I had one some time back, I think 4 years ago, where it started well. All relationships start well, and but there are things that are always hidden, but always, the signs are there, but we tend to assume them. For example, when you are having a conversation and someone tells you, by the way, mimi ukiniwacha nitajiua. Unaona kitu kama hiyo. Anaisema tu kama story, just a normal story. But for you, you think that, okay, now this is love. This person is never going to leave me.
Yeah.
Okay? So we are actually having a thing. Or someone's telling me that if I ever find you with another girl, I will kill you and kill that girl and I also kill myself. You see? So such talks, we always tend to see them as signs of love, which to me, they're red flags for us to just imagine that we are already in a place whereby we are even a danger to ourselves, and the partner that we're dating is also a danger to us. So I used to date someone when when you are having issues, or maybe you want to share a good news with them, you find them, they're always moody, and when you tell them that, they say, yeah, that's yours. Yuni yako wewe jibambe. Mimi I'm not into that. You know, also unapata kwamba mwingine, I used to have like anakwambia, your life is going on so well, but mine is stagnant. It looks like you're just focusing on yourself, on improving yourself and other things, but what about me? And they're like, but you have your own life. How about you just focus on going to school and maybe doing other things? So your success to them, to her, my success to her was a problem, because I think she was running my race. I don't know, something of that sort. So we used to have a lot of problems. You find that each and every week we will also always be arguing over very petty things, very, very petty things. And it'll be like, so why are we even doing this each and every day? Why are we always fighting? And when we come to the table to maybe try to correct something, you find that both of us are arguing from a point of wanting to be correct. She wants to be right, I want to be right. So you wonder now, are we in a tug of war, or are we in a relationship? So I think that is one of the main things that really had a hit on me. And I was so naive, and I didn't want to leave that relationship, because I was like, how will I even start again? Because now I've been here for 2 years, I've invested my emotions, my time, my money, and everything with it. So I wanted to hold on to it for so long, because also people, I was wondering, okay, she was beautiful, and also there's this there's this man prestige when you work with someone that people are always talking about. Wanasema we are kona kifaa, we always call it kifaa. This we are kona kifaa. Yeah. So you always imagine, if I lose my kifaa, what will people say? So I would rather die in silence, try and to fight inside the house, but look happy from the outside, so that at least I can continue having this relationship. But it always reaches a time and point whereby now your brain is starting to shut down. I had to shut down for 2 months. And that was when I said, man, I know you are Kifa, but you're not going to kill me. So I think this thing is...
All right, Doctor, you know, I want to bring in this question. Why do people stay in these toxic relationships? 4 years, 2 years, 2 years.
He has mentioned something very key. Number one, investment. You look like you have invested so much in that person, and you're like, I don't want to lose this. We sometimes operate, in our minds, we operate like what I would say investors. You have gone such a long journey. You're almost reaching Mombasa. You are in Mtitwandei. You look, coming back to Nairobi is too long. So you're like, let me try and continue with this thing. So the first aspect is investment. Number two, there is also, I think somebody mentioned hope. You're always hoping that that person will change. And because sometimes they'll come and change. They change for a month. They will tell you, I'll never hit you again. And they swear on their mothers and their fathers and even their pastors and all that, I will never hit you again. And so you look at that, you're like, I have invested in this person. And the way they have spoken today, there are even people who cry. I had one occasion where a man was almost being left because of being violent. And he rolled on the ground. Analia machozi mingi kabisa. And he's like, I will never do this again. Let me tell you, even me, looking, knowing that this could be just something, unless he changes, it may happen again, I almost felt pity for him. And truly, the woman took the man back again. And he cheated several other times. So there is that aspect of hope. Then number three, society. Kuna hiyo story ya kifaa. So the society has been saying, this is a very nice couple. People see you walking around, they see you in church, they see you on social media, and they keep on talking how beautiful you are. And so for the society's sake, you stick in on that. Your parents, some of you, maybe some people even take their boyfriends or their girlfriends home, and so they have been accepted. Because some of these people who are toxic are very nice to, for example, in-laws. They will do shoppings and they will treat them well, but see, they are hiding something. So even your own mother and your father will be telling you, "Huyu jamaa msimuache. Msichana kutoka siku aliingia maisha yenu, maisha yetu, huku hata nyumbani tunaona tuko sawa. Kwa hivyo kaa na yeye." So those are some of the things that cause people to want to stick in most of the relationship.
Yeah, you brought in a few of what could be, what someone could look into and see that I'm in a toxic relationship. But what are those psychological factors or signs that you could see and say, no, I'm not doing fine, I'm in a toxic relationship?
Number one, there is the general feeling of unhappiness. You'll find most people who are in a toxic relationship, they are unhappy. You know, if nowadays there are even apps on our phones, which you can actually, they keep on checking on you, how are you feeling now? If you analyze your system, because we all know ourselves, you find that most of the day, either when you think about that person or when you think about your general well-being, you're not happy. God wants us to be happy. We know when we ought to be happy. And therefore, you find every time you think about that person, you're not happy. That is one of the signs. Number two, there is also that aspect of hopelessness. You look at that relationship, yes, you can see that person looks good, they are promising in a few things, but deep inside there's a sense of hopelessness to a point you feel like just giving up. You don't know why, but you just feel. Our bodies speak to us, our minds speak to us. Then I think especially and it is even for us men, it's only that as men we don't speak a lot. The aspect of fear, when it means meeting that person, there is always that fear of kuna standard sija meet. So you meet that person and you always feel like you're being sized up. That is another sign of that relationship could be toxic. And of course, there is also the aspect of sadness. You know, you're always, when you're with that person, even when it's a happy moment, deep inside there is a sadness that is within you. You know, we all need to check. We know what we need. It's like for especially for ladies. You know, when ladies go for shopping, they want to buy a white dress. They can tell you, this is not the white I want. And you're looking at it as a man, you're saying, this is white. They say, no, this is not it. And you can go to 5 shops and eventually they say, this is the white. For you as a man, you're like, see, ni kama ile ilikuwa pale. They say there's a difference. So there's always that thing where you know, I am hii kitu iko sawa. And there's that moment you just feel it is not okay. Like what my brother there was saying. He reached a place akajua, hapa siko sawa. I'm ending it. So we all know the signs. But what we do is that we like ignoring them because of some of those things. The society will say this. I'm feeling like everybody likes this or whatever. But we need to be so sensitive on some of these signs. If that person hits you, why should you stay on? If that person curses you and curses your mother and your father, and he's like what you were saying, if you leave me, I will die. You just leave them before they die. You know, ukitoka saa hiyo maybe watakuwa wameingia ndani sana. So leave them, they sort their issues out. Instead of getting in, then when you try to leave them, they kill you and they kill themselves. Yes. Someone
is telling me, you know, at that moment, you don't know that you're going through this. You're always in love. Now what happens in that situation?
That's what I'm saying. We have to enter, and I will say this especially to the ladies. You have to enter into a relationship with a sober mind. Because love is a feeling, but when you are in marriage, you realize it goes beyond the feeling. It is action. And most of the times it's the action that will tell you. Somebody, for example, and I'm not saying that now you leave your guy because he came late, but somebody does not even respect your time. You agree to meet at 2 o'clock, the guy comes at 4. Or even the lady comes at 4. That means that person does not respect you. They don't honor you. Because anybody who respects you, like now, for example, we had this show. I think all of them, they were here before time. That means they respect the organization, they respect the show. But if it is a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you tell them, let's meet at 8. The lady comes or the guy comes at 11. and with small apologies, pole, 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 take a soda there or a hamburger there, we'll organize. That is already a sign that he's telling you, you could be a good person, you're feeling all nice, but there's something very wrong. Somebody keeps on, uko na simu hapo, they're already saying, who are you calling? Nani unapigia? And they throw a tantrum. But after that, they apologize. That's already telling you that person is a controlling freak. So unless you study, and that's why I say for every person who is getting into a relationship, just like this work, why don't you take a moment and do some of the study? Because most of us are discovering we're in toxic relationship because of what we are hearing. For example, the sharing, everybody sharing here. But what if, why can't somebody just go to school and study marriage, this thing called relationship, before you get into it? It would be better.
All right. Let me get some comments here. And remember, if you're just joining us, send in your questions and feedback at TV47 Kenya on Facebook and YouTube as well. And Alex Mwangi Ndirangu is saying it's not easy to break free from there in hand, but you can break free by making decisions from within your heart and mind. And Mama Dorcas is also watching us from Nyeri. Thank you so much for watching. And Lovi Amnes is saying it's emotional attachment that comes from sexual intercourse. Do you agree, Grace?
Well, to some bit of it, yeah. But then there is this thing, I think now from the people that have shared and also from previous people that have had talk about them being in abusive relationships or toxic ones. Let's talk about trauma bonding and attachment styles. So those are two things that really lead people to such things. So you find that maybe one of the partners is dismissive or has a dismissive attachment style. The other one is clingy, or they have the healthy attachment style. But dealing with this dismissive person can really be very tough. Now, where the trauma bond comes in is you've had people are saying, if you leave me, I will kill myself. So you're there because and it has, one of my colleagues here has said, you're like, you interpret that as love. It narrows down to the childhood traumas and all those things. And now for ladies, there is how we value things. There is how we see. Now, this is me talking from a lady's perspective. We love, when we love, we go all in.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't even think, I don't know, kesho kutakuwaje. It is just, we are in. So yes, bits of that still do apply. But Daktari has said something about you're almost, you are going to Mombasa, you're at Mtito and you're like, what? So I think what I can tell people is there is this phrase that has been going around. Whenever you get into the wrong bus, please alight at the next station, the next stop that the bus makes, please alight there. Because this is when the more you stay, even if maybe you think you're the one receiving, the more you stay in that relationship, you're still investing your time and energy. And where attention goes, energy flows. At the end of the day, you find yourself so deep into it, such that breaking free from that bond is really tough.
Yeah. So, Doctor, we have a question here, and he's saying, hi, my name is Ken, and it's true when instincts tell you you're being shortchanged. I haven't dated just a toxic person, but as well as them being a narcissist, yeah. I'm stuck in the relationship. All is framed as me to be source of all chaos. How can I get off this person? I am overpowered. It's Ken. It's a man.
It's a man. I like what my brother said there. You know, most men, when they're into something, they say they sometimes don't want to get out. And one of the key things that happens in such a relationship, you find, amazingly, you may judge men in the wrong way, but men have, created with a thing of kusikia huruma. You know, sometimes they look at that lady and anaona vile alilia last time, though she's abusive and she's wrong, anasikia huruma, she doesn't want to, hataki kutoka, anaona wacha tu nikae hapa, niendelee kumsikilia huruma. But one thing I'll tell Ken, number one, it is important to ask yourself truly how you are feeling. Already I said it's feeling wrong. Now, if you have your finger in fire and it is burning, now you can't say I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling pain, but I just want to hold it for another 20 minutes. If it is feeling wrong, that means make a decision from your heart. Because if you use your mind sometimes to look around and say, or logically think, you may never make the right decision. So check your heart how you're feeling about that relationship. And if it is not right in your heart, you can feel a big no. Then it is time. And I think he's already saying it. Number two, there is this thing about saying no. You know, no is a very powerful word. And if you are able to say no, and that is, you need to practice. Maybe Ken just needs to go to a room and put the image of that girl and just say no a few times. Practice until you are ready to go and say no. It's not easy, because you're expecting the other person may beg, they may cry, they may threaten, but your no has to be no. Because as I think she has said something about, there are people who get addicted to the goods. You know, maybe the guy or the lady is a party animal. They enjoy the party thing. They're enjoying the intimacy. So when they look at all that, they're like, wacha tu tuendelee na hii, hata kama huku ni kubaya, hii inakuwaga very exciting. So for Ken, I think you need to just rise up inside and say no to this, and also end the addiction, because there is always an addiction that comes in. Maybe there's something that you are addicted in that particular lady. It could be her smile. Unasema gatungu na wangai smile hata kama ni kabaya namna gani inaniua. So break that addiction and you'll be able to come out of that.
All right. Gloria, daktari amesema hapa the men sometimes wanasikia huruma. Wakisema jana venye alilia, I don't want her to cry like that again. You were there for 4 years. Did you ever feel like this man cared about you? Akikuja kila siku, or the times that he used to beat you?
Actually, yes, he used to care, because anytime he beats you, he'll beat you, then he'll come back and apologize. He'll be there like, I'm really sorry, honey, I didn't mean to do this, you know. He'll even take a step, and maybe if he injured you, like in a bad way, he'll be the one who's taking you to the hospital, actually. So you're like, okay, he cares. Yes, he hurt you, but he still cares. So yeah, when they do that, you'll just be like, yes, they love me. So you just stay there. Yes.
Corazon, would you agree that that is really love and care? Unapigwa vizuri sana and then they come and say sorry. Is that love to you?
That's not love. It's like trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to lose this someone because of something specific. Like the way doctor said, addiction. He will beat you up, but at the same time, he'll come and buy you flowers. Maybe you love affirmations of gifts. Being told sweet things. So you're like, I won't lose this thing. And he will change after all.
Yeah.
That's what our back mind usually tells us. And then you're like, atanipiga tu leo, kesho atabadilika. Na sitasikia uchungu. I'm used to it. And then after some time, he comes and apologizes, show you lovey-doveys. So, but I don't think that's love.
Yeah. Okay, just hold on to that point. We have a call. Joseph from Nairobi is calling. Good morning, Joseph. How are you? Joseph? Do we have him? Morning, yes. We can't hear him.
My name is Joseph.
Yes.
I think, I've gone through something and I wanted to share with you guys. There is this lady that I was dating. And, she was a bit older than me. So we dated for 2 years. And then we stayed together for like 6 months. And then, I decided like I'm not comfortable with the relationship. But now kutoka ilikuwa ngumu, because alikuwa mkubwa, alikuwa ananithreaten, because alikuwa ananilipia bills. Yeah, so kuna vile alinithreaten kuambia watu, kuambia familia yangu, kunitumia watu wanichape, kitu kama hiyo. So ilikuwa ngumu kutoka. Alafu, ikafika time
We lost him. we lost him, but I'm very proud of Joseph for talking about that, you know. He's bringing in the aspect of dating older women who also put them through all this. But from what Amesema, anything you have to say about it?
I think that he mentioned something, and he said the men don't talk.
Yeah.
And the reason why men don't talk, number one, men only will communicate to those they can trust. Not to anybody. Women can get into a matatu and the makanga, they begin to talk, and the makanga will ask, "You're looking sad." And she will give the story of her life. And by the time she's getting out of that matatu, she's healed.
Yeah.
And she's better. But a man weighs carefully on who to talk to. And so probably the reason why he's even calling is because anonymity.
Yeah.
He knows nobody will get to know him. But there are so many men outside there who are abused. And some of the abuses, like he's talking about anachapwa,
Yeah.
nana pangiwa. So you can imagine the kind of trauma that he has gone through. And I will say, as a man, you have to, especially now talking to men, you have to find somebody who you can genuinely talk to when you're going through some issues. Because if you don't do that, it could be just one person, somebody just to affirm you. Because that's where you find men are the ones who are doing the dangerous things in relationships. When maybe a lady leaves, they will harm her or kill her. Why? Because they never found anybody to talk to. So number two, I always tell men, those who are not even going through abuse, be a person who can be told something and you don't laugh back. Why do ladies, why are they afraid to go to police stations to report especially issues like violence and rape? Because they are like, maybe the first person will say, "Atawe angalia vile umevaa." Already they start accusing you that you're the one who propagated or made that to happen. Now the same thing, you go to men and you say, "Jana bibi alinipiga." Wanaume wataanguka chini wakicheka. Na sasa umeumia, ukitoka hapo you never talk again.
Yeah.
So I will say, as a man outside there, practice empathy to another man so that men can survive. There are so many men committing suicide. Actually, the number of men who are committing suicide is higher than the women, because the women will talk.
Just hold on there. Let's get another call. Ruth, good morning. How are you? Ruth? Ruth, hello. Can you hear me? Ruth? All right, Gladson, I want to come back to you. You see, there's this comment that we had from Lovey Amnesty, and he was saying that for you not wanting to leave that relationship, it comes from the attachment or emotional connection through sexual intercourse. You mentioned something that where you were saying that this girl is a trophy girlfriend, you didn't know what to do. So would you agree with that comment?
Yeah, I would, because in reality, it happens. And it's a mistake that we always do, but sometimes also when you're in love, wao wanasema mtu ngumu kumpea ushauri ni mtu mwenye ako in love. Because yeye hata kusikia, naona wewe ni enemy. Yeah, utaki endelee. So it's very true, because especially when there are these people when they cement their relationship through an intercourse. You have met today, you have just talked kidogo tu, then boom. So what is keeping you together ni hiyo tu, the pleasure that comes with it. So it will be very difficult for you to leave such a relationship as long as that thing is still present kwa hiyo situation. And the more you do it, the closer you people become. There is this also, there is that the spiritual aspect into it, whereby the more intercourse you have with someone, the more intertwined you become. So living ni ngumu unless something bigs come up. So utapata kwamba you'll be suffering, you'll be going through a lot of stuff. In fact, there is this, because also I work at Shofco as a GBV champion. So you find that there's this situation that I had of people that anytime they used to fight, they used to go to intercourse as a way of trying to feel good. And also as a way, a coping mechanism.
To rebound.
Yeah. They will use it as a coping mechanism in this. So you see, anytime they fight, they just go to the intercourse.
Just hold on to that. Let's get Ruth again. Ruth, how are you? Good morning.
Morning to you. My name is Ruth. I've been married for 18 years. Na bwanangu amekuwa tu na shida. He used to beat me. Ananifanya tu mambo mengi. Sasa nimekaa nikifikiria maybe niondoke. Like December aliondoka nyumbani akaenda kwao. Akakaa kwao mpaka New Year. From kukaa kwao mpaka New Year, he didn't leave food. Aliondoka tu hivyo akaniacha peke yangu. Ninaishi kwa hiyo nyumba peke yangu. Until tarehe 3 ndiye alirudi nyumbani. So me, I don't know what to do. Wako niacha hata food. And then wakati alikuja alianza ku apologize. Unajua kuko hivi, kuko vile. Nao nimerudi sitaondoka tena. So mimi nimeshangaa nifanye nini, manake mimi hata amenipa pressure. Right now niko na pressure na meza dawa. Nilikuwa nampenda sana lakini nikaona anakuwa na wasichana pale nje. Leo unapiga huyu, kesho utapiga yupi tena. Utashinda umepigana. And now niko na a form 2 girl. Niko na mtoto wa form 2. Niko na mtoto wa class 1 ambaye ni grade 1. And I'm married for 18 years. Now, hii relationship nataka kuuliza daktari hapo. Mtu atafanyaje, niondoke ama niendelee kukaa? Manake this guy ananichapa. Sina ile income, naweza sema niko na income, hataki nifanye kazi. So nifanye vipi? Manake hata mimi nimechoka. Even there is a time nilikuwa nataka kufanya suicide. Niondoke tu kwa uso wake asiye niona tena.
So sorry about that, Truth. Daktari is here for you. You can take it up.
No, it's such a sad situation. This is a lady who is going through so much abuse, physical, emotional. And even financial. The financial, and there is also adultery. Now, I usually say, ask yourself, if you stay in that relationship, how long are you going to live? Because already high blood pressure has already hit her. So that means, like she has said, there is a relationship that is not adding value. Sometimes we stay in a relationship and you are saying watoto. Now watoto ukiwauliza pia, they are also going through emotional turmoil because they see how the father treats them. Number 2, the risk of diseases is so high because this man is cheating, he's coming back home. If she gets HIV, that will be a death sentence for her. Number 3, I still want to say again, the physical violence. If you are today, you are to know that every time I pass this route, nitachapwa. Assuming you are going home, you'll be mugged. Will you pass that route? So there are times when you look at, we do not advocate for divorce a lot. But as a woman, number 1, you are a human being, you can take what we call empowerment. Everybody is called to work. So there are times you will say, sasa mimi nitafanya kazi, hii relationship nitaiweka kando, I will go and work for the sake of myself and for my children. There is also something else. There are so many women groups, and I believe those who are seated here, they can be able to direct her. There are so many women groups who she can be able to relate to. Because the moment this man comes and apologizes, and you continue life kama kawaida, you have rewarded his behavior. So tomorrow he will continue to do these things. So if it is violence, you need to come to a place where you can be able even to report to the police. Kwa sababu wengine tu ni kumisbehave na behave. The day you will mention police na aitwe, utapata hiyo vitu itaisha. So if there is physical violence, kindly report to the police. Wacha akuwe summoned for the first time, see whether he is going to change. Because there are people, ni tabia tu anakuwa mbaya. Akiona amefika kwa polisi, utapata ameanza kubadilika. But 17 years is such a long time that there is kuna kitu unaweza angalia nikaa ka Volkswagen, umekaripia kanaharibika, unakaripia kanaharibika. Kuna pahali unafika hivi unasema kagari akaezi endelea. So you may be better off alone because especially of adultery and the physical violence. So I will tell you, look for ways, hata kama ni kazi utatafuta. Please don't agree to that narrative that hataki ufanye kazi, go and work. It is actually ungodly not to work. Yes.
You know, there are fears that Gloria here mentioned that yeye, for example, alikuwa anaogopa kutoka because this guy had threatened to look for her. For Ruth, what happens now? Akipeleka huyu mtu kule polisi, and then he comes back for her and threatens maybe to take her life. Then what happens?
Let me tell you, unajua kitu moja, even you find most of the people who get harmed are the people who are silent. If you step outside there, and I will also mention to the police who could be listening, if somebody comes complaining that they are getting physical violence in their home, please don't, I know they are serious, but there are cases where you find a few who will make fun of and then enda nyumbani msikizane huko. No, I think they also need to take it very seriously. Wanaume wengi, na these gentlemen can agree, when you realize you're being reported mahali pale mbele, unapata gato unatulia. So I think it's an action she needs to take. Probably she has never involved the family. Ladies have got a very nice thing of covering up for the man sometimes. So you don't even tell their parents. So I think there is also a time where you need to call a meeting, a serious meeting as a woman. Useme mimi naita mkutano wa familia, both families, let the truth be known. Because when you keep the truth, the devil loves the secret. He will continue harming you. But when you put it outside there, you'll even get strength to be able to make some of the decisions. Otherwise, if you have never talked to family, step out and talk to the family.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for that call. I hope you've gotten your answer. Now let's take another call from Dixon. Dixon is from Nairobi. How are you? Good morning.
Niko salama labda nyinyi.
Tuko salama.
Najaribu kuwafuatilia huko. Naona hiki kipindi ni sawa. So nilikuwa nauliza, I'm 27 years.
Yeah.
Na niko na shida.
Dixon, punguza volume ya TV, songa mbali na TV.
Nasonga?
Yes.
So niko nauliza niko na shida moja. Ninaposhiriki na mwanamke yote tendo la ngono, lazima ashike mimba. Na niko 27 na already kwa wale nimeshiriki nao. Ni wanawake 9 na wote wako na mimba, na kuna mwanamke mwenye nishazaa na watoto wawili. Lakini ninapo tu fanya tendo la ngono naye, lazima nimpachike mimba. So sijui shida iko wapi, mpaka najiulizanga maswali na hiyo umri yangu. Nitafanya aje na watoto?
Alright, Dixon, daktari yuko hapa for you. You really have a lot
Dixon, anasikia karibu aseme ni specialist wa kumake ladies pregnant. Dixon, wacha nikwambie kitu moja. Number one, mimi nasema if you are going to get involved in sex, then be ready to take responsibility. Sasa utajaza watoto kwa nchi mzima, and those children watakuwa a place where they are fatherless, because it's not there. So already umeshaona kuna shida. It's only that the women are, si ati ni shida uko nayo, ni most of the ladies unakutana nao, they are fertile and they are on their periods. So me, I would tell you, are you ready to get married? Because if you are just going out for sex, then something is very wrong with you. Oh, mnatafuta raha tu. Kwa hivyo Dixon, I think you are old enough. Focus on one lady ambayo utaoa, na already kwa sababu wako wawili, chagua mmoja wa hao uoe. Ndio hiyo shida hii iishe. Otherwise utajaza nchi. What do you say, my brother? What do you advise?
Thank you so much, Dixon, for that call. We take a very short break at this point. We're coming back to the conversation on toxic relationships. Stay with Morning Cafe.
Are you ready to elevate your business game?
As long as you're earning something, there's always that opportunity to save. And you start with where you are.
Kama wewe ni mfanyabiashara, huwezi kaa bure, unajipanga taratibu vile inavyofaa.
Join us each week as we dive into the stories of the world's most driven entrepreneurs.
When you pay attention to detail, you get luxury items.
The Grind, where business meets brilliance. Tune in every Monday at 7:30 p.m. because your business deserves the best.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe, and the conversation you're having this morning is toxic relationships. And before we went on that very short break, we had a very good laugh here in the studio from that call, Dixon. And you know, he's worried that he's sad, you know, and I don't be worried about. But is that in any way linked to toxicity, Dr.
Already, that's a foundation for being toxic. Because you see, the more he keeps on sleeping with women and making them pregnant, and he's already most likely irresponsible. So when he marries, you see, if these ladies let him go, the next lady he will marry, he will feel like he has been put in a box. And so he can do a few things here. He can become toxic in throwing words because he wants his old lifestyle. And so it's already wrong. Pursuing just ladies for sex, because eventually you're not looking at the consequences for, and she mentioned, I think one of them mentioned about women go in 100%. So you can imagine this lady who is pregnant probably even knew her days are there. So she expected maybe Dixon to marry. Lakini sasa she will be pregnant and Dixon does not marry. So he's spreading a toxicity into the whole arena. Because akikosa kuoa huyu, that lady has already been wounded. She's most likely to get into another relationship and wound even others. So he should just stop.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to you. Sijasahau, I know you're here. Let's get this call from Anne. Anne is from Eastleigh. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, na niko na swali kwa daktari.
Yes.
Yeah, I got married with one kid. Yeah, to someone who is younger than me with 5 years. Na tumekuwa tukisumbuana saa zingine I don't know whether I love him or I don't know. Because by the time tulioana na nilikuwa so desperate na mtoto mmoja, my parents hatukuwa tunasikizana. So ilikuwa tu lazima ningeoleka ama nikuwe away from home. Our relationship imekuwa ngumu sana juu saa zingine hata haniambiangi nimwekee chakula, anataka tu yeye mwenyewe ajishughulikie. But he's very good with the kid. I got married with na tukapata mtoto mwingine, but tuko na relationship gumu. Yeah.
All right, Daktari, there you have it.
I think one thing that happens, especially in marriage, most people, and I think it is you who said, he said about growth. Most people get into marriage and they think it will work on itself. They think it's like a bean. You know, if you throw a bean in a fertile ground, it will grow on its own and eventually it will produce. So most people get into a relationship and they don't add value to themselves. So you may find they have a problem in communication. Instead of sitting down and having a solid conversation on how can we be better. Many couples don't do that. Organization will call for a meeting and have a board meeting and to review a week. In counseling, we usually say, as a couple have reviews. What went well? What can we improve? Now, I think they just got in and there is nothing. So I will suggest to her, talk to your husband and have a sober conversation. Don't go blaming. Ask him, what can we do to make this relationship better? Number two, of course, this lady looks like she comes from the traditional kind of marriage where she has to serve the man, and this guy can go to the kitchen. There are a lot of people who can do that. Like for me, I don't find it fancy. I can actually go to the kitchen and serve myself. So you also need to appreciate that you have a man who can go to the kitchen and serve. There are some women who are looking for that. A guy who can just go to the kitchen na ajiserve. So if that is what he likes, probably you need to understand him. But I will urge that you have a conversation, express your concerns about the marriage, and also let him express his concerns concerning marriage. Then ask each other, what do we do? And don't make it an argument. Make it sober. Wakati umepika chakula nzuri that evening, have that conversation.
We also have another call. Mweni wa Mureithi is on call. How are you, Mweni?
I'm fine, thank you. Napiga kutoka Nyeri.
Yes.
Niko na maswali mawili. Ya kwanza nauliza, does it mean that many people are in toxic relationship out here? Sababu watu wengi wako na mauchungu sana, wako na lot of bitterness out there. Does it mean that many people are in toxic relationships? Ya pili, nauliza, munaweza advise mwanarika mwenye anaingia into marriage aje mwenye alikuwa ina child trauma asiingie ina toxic marriage?
All right. Asante. Daktari?
We are saying this. Unajua pia every time something is highlighted so much, people begin to pick. And so there is that moment of now the word toxic. It can become a big thing and people can begin looking at the small things. Misuse it. That the guy came home, he didn't talk to me, that is toxic. No, it has to be, there are some things, marriages go through issues. And it has to be very drastic for it to be called toxic. Number two, we have not said that if you are in a toxic relationship, you cannot work it out. That's where counselors come in. People can go to, maybe there's a lady like that one who has gone through an issue. How did she overcome it? If mentorship is a very key thing. So what I will say outside there, it is important. Unajua watu za zingine wana ignore. Kwanza wa Kenya, wapendagi kuenda marriage seminars. Then they will call you and say, shida, niko na shida na ndoa. Na hiyo marriage seminar ingemsaidia. So what I will say, there is so much information about how to make a marriage work on YouTube. Sit down with your husband if it's possible. Listen and ask, how can we improve? Because there is so much that can be done to improve. It's just like the way in business. Today you are an accountant. Tomorrow maybe you are CPA 1. Tomorrow you can improve and become a CPA 2. Today you're in marriage today. Then look for books, look for mentors who can also guide you on how to become better. Today we are married for 25 years, not because we are so good, but because I have so many mentors. There are men I will talk to, there are books I will read. I will go on YouTube and research. My wife will do the same. And then we come down together and we ask ourselves, what can we do in this marriage?
All right. And now let me engage the panel once again. You see, Mweni wa Mureithi is asking about bitterness. And Frank, this is for you. Unaona kuna times when we say that broke people are bitter, you know? We anasema toxic people are what? Are bitter. Is that something that you could say it's true?
You know, I think to this point, we all will agree with this panel that this topic shouldn't end here. This topic should circulate countrywide. Because you see, you meet a person and it's just moody. Yeah? You sit close to someone in a vehicle, it's just moody. You think maybe it's for financial constraints or maybe job. No, this person, hajapewa hug ya kwenda job. Overthinking, you know? So you find, and this thing is really itching on men. I'll talk on men because I'm an experience of that.
Yeah.
You see, men get into a relationship looking for someone that he will be stable with. Like, if this is a person with goals, with dreams that are like mine. Like, he feels like he needs peace. He needs someone who will respect him. And that's all for men. Someone who will, they will be stable with him. But to ladies, they go into a relationship with different goals. Now, you see, that's why you find a man will not be in looking for cheap things to complain about, but he will be looking, is this woman towards that direction that I want her to be? If that woman is heading to that direction, regardless of the little things that are happening in that relationship, which most of the time we ignore, this man will continue focusing with that lady, you know? And now to that point, this man will not be able to know whether this relationship is out of control. That's why you find, you say men don't talk. It's not that men don't talk. They don't focus on a lot of romantic issues. They focus on the futuristic characteristics, you know? So this thing is a continuing thing that you find, how that lady has said, how can you advise someone who is getting into maybe marriage issues? As Dr. has said, most of the time when you get in a new relationship, it will always be romantic because this is a new person, you know? You'll always want to prove a point that this person did not make a wrong decision by loving you or accepting you in. So you'll always be active. But what after 2 years, after 3 years, how will you maintain that romantic? How will you maintain that you the very first time? Because of you have to attend marriage seminars, counseling. I'm happy we have mental health practitioners here. They have to come out. They have to stand out. They have to go into these communities, these slums especially, leave alone the estates. There are a lot of things happening in these slums because people have no support. So can we get out there? Can we spread this message so that we at least let people, it's a reality. We cannot ignore it.
All right, let's get Annette Wanjiru from Ruaka at this point. Annette, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Annette.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment. I'm watching the show. Okay, I have been married now for 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, na nilionasikia ukidate mtu anawezanga kuficha sana. Kwa sababu when we were dating he was so loving. Actually back then I used to stay at Kiambu. Alikuwa ananikujia job anipeleka Kiambu. So I saw him as a romantic guy until when nearly dropped job, I got pregnant. That's when I started seeing his true colors. He would come at 2 or at 3. Now me to believe in talking. Because me nikiona kitu inaenda vibaya, I will ask questions. You know, I believe in talking and saying what is there. So I noticed he started being violent to a point he would slap me. Back then when he did so, I was 6 months pregnant. So because he has never done this before, I didn't say anything. But I was shocked because I remember when he slapped me, I was like, "Hey, you slapped me?" Okay, we went to sleep, and the following day we woke up. He said he was sorry, blah blah blah. But it didn't stop. It continued. And so I realized, okay, when I was working, I never saw this. But now I'm dependent of him. I'm seeing another side of him. So it went on until I gave birth. After my child was 6 months, I decided to go back to work. But sasa kulikuwa na ile jealousness because I can't talk to a man. Ama nikiwa job alikuwa nakujanga, maybe angenikuta customer because I work as a waitress. He will say, "Hey, you're smiling too much." If I'm chatting with some friends, he will snatch my phone, wants to know who I'm chatting with. Ama nikipigiwa simu, he wants to hear who I'm calling with. So it went on until I was like, mtu ni ule mtu ukimwonyesha venye anataka hivyo atakukalia. So I remember because I used to leave my child at my mom's place. So I remember I have a daughter who is 11 years now.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter telling me, "Mom, I saw Daddy with another lady." Blah blah blah. So tukachukua mtoto tukienda nyumbani. I was like, na mtoto ameniambia aliona hivi na hivi. So he got angry. He went back home, said some very bad comments from my mom. So Nina was like, anakuja ametusiana. What I do? Because nikienda na my mom will be like, so you value your man over me. Ama over us. Amekuja ametudifferent. I went and took my clothes and I went back home to my mom's place. But the funny thing is that hata nikienda job, this guy nilikuwa natoka kwa gate namkuta hapo, anipeleka job, nikitoka job nampata hapo. So watu wengi wako wanaamini I'm not out of my marriage. But I don't know if it, because after 1 year and 2 months, I went back to him. And okay, I can say it because I think hiyo miezi yote nilikaa nyumbani because alikuwa anakuja na mama yake, then things don't work out, wanarudi. I think they came 5 times. I decided to go back.
And due to time, maybe your question now to Daktari?
Okay, my thing is, nimekuja kurealize to control him, but he's not as devoid. He's no more a violent man. But I don't know. Okay, is there hope?
All right, let's ask Daktari that question. Is there hope for Annette?
I will say the greatest thing that somebody can do with such a relationship, number one, we are not saying that a relationship cannot work out, but is that man willing to walk a journey with somebody who can help him, probably with childhood traumas? Because we are seeing signs of that. There's a lot of insecurity. If you see controlling men, it is either they lost something, and so they feel like they are going to lose that lady, so they want to control things. There are others who are low self-esteem. If you see a man who is beating a woman, his esteem is very low. Because most men, we said, as men, we have order. When we meet as men, you'll find we weigh each other. We want to see what are you driving, where are you working. If a man has got nothing he's doing, he will talk about big dreams because he has to fit in the league. So even in marriage, you find like this lady, this man is trying to control her, he's trying to beat her because he's like, you're up there. Yeye anamuona akiwa pale juu. Kwa hivyo anajaribu kumleta ile level yuko. So that man needs also to have, you guys need to visit a counselor who can be able to analyze your marriage and talk out some of the things. Because some of the things that are happening in relationship is simply because people are wounded. Somebody comes into a marriage, anakuangalia, yeye akuangalia kama wewe, anakuangalia kama a former girlfriend, ama a former boyfriend. You behave in a certain way, he sees the former boyfriend. So he reacts, I mean the former girlfriend, he reacts to you the same way he would have reacted because of what happened in the past. So there is a need for healing, and there is also need for counseling. That's what I would say. Counselors are so important. And talk to other people. Let that man also relate to other men. And if you're a man outside there and sincerely you're using your hands to beat a woman, that is wrong. Because one of the key things of why women get married is security. Now they find insecurity in you, then you have not done right. To the women outside there, kindly use your mouth well. Because sometimes the words that come out of women's mouth are harder than blows. So somebody could be saying, ati mimi naongeaga vizuri, lakini you told the man, no, you are useless. Now that word is heavy, and that man may fight you. So let us have the wisdom of being able to know how to navigate through some of these things.
Let's get Jeff from Kisii. Jeff, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, I'm Jeff from Kisii. Let me try to make it shorter. I was in a relationship when I was in campus, and then it happened that the lady I was dating got pregnant. So I thought that I'm the one who was impregnated her, but it was someone else. So I was stressed by the time I was learning that the kid, the pregnancy that she was carrying wasn't mine. So there was that mixed reactions, including their family, my friends, you know. Alafu kuna ile pia una feel ni kama ujanini kama mwanamume juu unachekwa huko na kule na mabeshte. I think I was going through a lot. And then advices pia, unajua sasa that time kupata advice kutoka kwa marafiki unapata advice zingine zenye zinakuchanganya tu. So to be precise, I decided not to continue the relationship despite the fact that I loved that lady so much. I decided to move on. And then nime move on and then nikapatana na a certain lady tukaanza kudate. So this lady tumekosana na yeye recently last year. But nilikuja nikarealize kwamba alikuwa anajua my ex. But kukosana kwetu ni, I think I never wanted to make a mistake again. Kukimbilia kwa relationship pia na kumhurt. Unajua kuna ile like you don't want to even get intimacy with this lady haraka because you don't want to mess up again, because I was ready for marriage, right?
Yeah.
So I think the lady aliboeka na mimi akaamua kukasirika tu and then tukaachana. So I came to learn later from friends that alikuwa anawaambia I'm not a man, sijui kama mwanamume nini, sikumuonyesha love, you see. So I've tried to talk to her at least to get back to her, but she doesn't want. You see, she has moved on. She went ahead and blocked me, but I really love that lady. Like right now, I'm so stressed. I feel like I need a therapist. I don't know what to do. I'm not even interested in dating any other lady. At least ningetaka tu aniongeleshe tuongee, but from our side, she doesn't want.
Right.
So daktari ningependa unipe ushauri na ikiwezekana maybe mnaweza nirufaa kwa therapist.
Absolutely.
No, it's actually hard. You know, emotional attachments, anything, partings are usually very painful. And I can understand what he's feeling, and I know there are guys here who can also understand what he's going through. But one thing I will say, if somebody refuses you and they really don't want you, there could be other reasons. Maybe they could be telling you you don't love them, but deep inside probably they have even found another relationship. And so they are looking for ways to end. So what I will tell, if you try and it is not working out, there is something that we call accepting. Because the earlier you accept, the better it becomes for you. It's like those people who get information that they have got a bad disease. The earlier they accept, the better it is, because they go to the next level, the place of looking for healing. So what I will tell you, if she's doesn't want to connect with you, go to the next, accept that she's moved on. Number two, go through the process of how you're feeling. Because what as men we do is we deny the feelings. Even have a journal, write down how you're feeling. And I will say, if you're a Christian, pray, because sometimes prayers help. And look for somebody who can stand with you. Not guys who will laugh at you, hii ni ya pili imeenda. Ya kwanza uligongewa, sasa hii ya pili imeenda. Don't look for those guys. Look for people who can actually affirm you. Because I can imagine at the moment, he must be feeling like a loser. He must be feeling very bad, knowing that he cannot maybe keep two relationships. It is not about you so much, but it's about you knowing that she made a choice, and you cannot get into her head and change her mind, but you can be able to move on. Love yourself, be strong for yourself, and it will be well.
All right. Gloria, you know, he said somewhere there, all right, let's take this call. Jacinta, before I come to you, Gloria. Jacinta, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Na mimi ni mzuri, nashukuru. Nimekuwa nikifuatilia na ningependa kujua zaidi kuhusu hii mambo ya relationship. Na ndio hiyo ninaulizia sasa, na hakuna mtu perfect, na kulingana na doc hapo ana ukiendelea kuongea anasema ukiona hii ni red flag, ukiona hii ni red flag. Sasa ni kitu gani ambao tunaweza tutatoa wapi mtu ambao ni perfect katika hii dunia juu? Ukipata huyu anakuchapa ni shida, ukipata mwingine achangii mambo ya boma ni shida, ukipata mwingine anachelewa ni shida. Is there any somebody who is perfect? Can you help me to understand?
Daktari, is there someone who is perfect?
There are no perfect people, but there are people that can be accommodated. You know, kuna mtu si ati sasa ukisema ukiona ati mtu anakufanya anakustua hivi, sasa unasema huyo sasa sitaenda na yeye. But there are those things that you can be able to tell these are not acceptable. For example, if somebody is violent, that is not acceptable. Somebody who calls you names, they can stop. Somebody who even sometimes violent, they can stop. We have cases where we've gotten people for counseling and they are violent and they come and they sit down. I have one couple that I have worked it for 2 years. If they came in, if I looked at them on a face value, and listened to what they were going through, I would have told them divorce. But I have walked a journey with them, and today they are very, very okay. So what I'm saying, as if you're looking for somebody, red flags does not mean that you don't get into a relationship with that person. But you ask yourself, am I ready to work with this person? And if you confront the person concerning that red flag, are they willing to work on it? If they are willing to work on it, then I believe any relationship can work. But what is happening is with a lot of people, we are getting into relationship and you're not getting advice. I wish people can begin to embrace what we call premarital counseling. Because in premarital counseling, we ask very tough questions. We have deal breakers where somebody sits down and we say, what can break what would be the deal breaker in this marriage? Somebody knows that if I'm getting into this marriage, if you do this, I may not be able to stay with you. So it is important for people not to be afraid of red flags. It is good to identify them, but also sit down and ask yourself, can we work on them and become better in this relationship? So there is no perfect person, but there are some flags that are not so red. They are like orange and yellow, and you can work through them.
Yeah. All right. Asante sana daktari for that. And we have questions here, and he's saying, I'm from Upper Hill. I've lately been cheated on with a celebrity, and yet I'm being told it's my fault, that I'm pushing my partner away. And nevertheless, I'm being convinced that I'm the only one for my partner. I'm so confused and so much one-minded. What can I do to get off this narcissistic relationship? And Gloria, I want to pose this question to you now as a mental health advocate, a practitioner.
Okay, as he has said, daktari hapa amekuwa akisema getting out of this relationship, it is not easy. It's a process. So if you decide you want to get out of the relationship, you need to identify the problem first, because you need to know, like, there's a problem here and I need to work on the problem. And you don't need, like, to just look at the end goal, because it's a process. So you need to start. You start from 0 to get to 100. So you just start slowly. He can start by, maybe they can have a discussion with the lady. They talk. He tells the lady, when unafanya menifurahishi na mali imefika, maybe I want to leave. They just have a good conversation. Si mali mnenda huko mnataka kupigana, just a calm discussion. If the lady agrees, they can then part ways. But kama the lady ata agree, the guy, like, he can try to use avoidance, because sometimes when you have a stressor, what you do, like a coping mechanism, you can try to avoid the stressor. So because the stressor is the lady, so you just try to avoid, cut off all contacts, block, like we see social media, WhatsApp, everywhere, just block. That is kama the discussion imekataa kuwork. You can also involve a psychologist, a counselor, all those people, because they can actually help. If the lady is willing to have, like, to make the relationship work, they can just go for therapy. There's couple therapy. You can just have the therapy. If it works, well and good. But if it doesn't, just walk away. For your mental health, just walk away. Yeah. So that's what I'll tell him. Yes.
All right. And Corazon, there's another one here. She says, hello, I'm Sharon. I have been in a relationship for 4 years where there's no open communication. When he arrives from job, there's no greetings. And if I try to make a conversation, he will be in a position to shout at me, and that will make me silent. What's your reaction to that, Corazon?
Okay. For that lady, if they are not able to communicate, they should look for a third party.
Yeah.
At least that counselor, maybe that parent, if they have someone, a mentor, anyone who can talk to them nicely. And if the problem is the man, maybe the man is, like, controlling. Maybe the lady feels like she's being demeaned, her voice is not being heard. So she can maybe refer the man to someone else. Maybe kando too, and then refer the man to someone else. And then they talk separately, kama the lady is not there. Maybe someone will advise the man, like, talk to him and tell him that your lady's voice matters in some decisions in your lives. So, and when it doesn't work also, she should just walk away. That's the only option. What? Asifos. Jo maybe they can, kunaweza kuwa na scenarios mingi wako nazo in life, and then the lady, maybe they want to buy something, a land, a property, and she has akona options zake somewhere, but the man yeye ndiye anataka kuchagua na nifanye, but this land is a family land maybe because maybe they want to live for a long life together. So kama opinion ya the lady doesn't matter right now, it won't matter even afterwards. So it's better they find a solution right now. Even if it's someone, even a pastor, mtu mwenye ako close to the man, ndiye anaweza ongea na yeye, maybe waelewane. But if the man doesn't want to listen, so sad.
Interesting, if it doesn't work now, it won't work later.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Grace, you know, Mama Dorcas from Nyeri is saying, does it mean, as I have understood and as they are discussing, that majority of people are in toxic relationships from childhood traumas or to relationships and even workplaces? Because many people are very bitter out there. Your reaction to that?
Actually, I'll just give a response instead of a reaction.
Yes.
There is this thing. When, okay, there are people that are loud, and the people that come out say maybe marriage is, okay, the marriage works. This is one thing that I know. Marriage works, I've seen. And these people whose marriages have worked are, I think, shy to come off and say, and be as loud as the people whose marriages have not really worked. So what we hear out here mostly is toxicity and this and that. That is the louder bit of it. I am not saying that people should stay silent, because it is in talking it out that we get helped. But what I'm trying to say is, let's talk it out in a positive way. Let's talk it out in a way that creates awareness instead of demeaning an institution that is already working. So my take on that is that not everyone and not all relationships are that toxic. There is a small percentage of toxic relationships, and a greater number have come off as, instead of trying to create awareness, trying to find healing, they come out to want to diminish the other institution. Oh, it doesn't work, it's a scam, it's nini. No, tutoke yes, but tusiongee in a way that tuna diminish an institution that is already there. So yes, not everyone is in, they're not very many. They're there, we should acknowledge that, but si mingi hivyo sana.
Tuongee tutoke.
Tuongee tutoke.
Amazing. Now, this one says, I'm not married, but I have a kid. Na baba ya huyu mtoto hajaini support. Now he's calling me claiming anataka kumchukua. What should I do? Jua tuko in good terms na yeye. Gladson.
First, well, before that, allow me kurudi nyuma kidogo tu, please, for the one mwenye alipiga from Isili, alafu na ule wa Kilifi.
That was Annette, from Isili.
They were asking about staying in a relationship with a person because you are economically disadvantaged.
Yeah.
I want to say this, there are so many organizations, for example, kama the Shofco that I work for, they empower women with work, so that you find that you have something that will give you this bargaining power in a relationship whereby the man will not feel like he has an advantage over you because of the money. Because some of us wanna mistreat the other person because you think they're desperate. They're not going to leave this relationship because if they leave, wanaenda wapi? So they can go to these organizations, get empowered, or get a business, because some organizations also zinakufungulia biashara. So you get something to do, at least it gives you, because there's nothing as good as peace of mind. Because if you are, hata kama unapewa pesa ngapi, but someone is mistreating you, it doesn't help you. At the end of the day, you'll just use this money to go for treatments, and that is not something that we are all looking out for. So coming to this, parenting is very complicated. Na mimi usema love is very simple. Ni sisi ndio wanga tuna complicated mambo ya love. Love is just these small things does not create love. Kiangala kama wewe ana complain atisipewe good morning. How much does it cost to tell someone good morning?
Yeah.
So, yeah, see, you see. So when it comes to parenting, especially when a man and a woman are married and the woman has a child from another man, it becomes a problem, especially if the woman at the middle bado anataka kukula pande zote mbili. Unajua kuna waga na issue. Wewe uko na mtoto, you are married to another man, but still you are keeping very very close contact with the former. Anatuma pesa na anaongelelewa kwa hii nyumba, wanaume wawili wanatajwa. It's very hard for a man, because I'll be like, now am I the one who is married to you, or is the other person? Number two, men are very jealous people. Hawatakangi kukuwa dominated. So if they feel like someone else is making more support than me, it becomes a problem. So what I can say is this, if in this relationship amekuja and this man is willing to accommodate the child, he should just leave the other person go. Aende to equate to like, we had a past, we had a child, but now I'm in a new relationship. I don't need your input on anything unless ni kitu maybe ilikuwa allowed by the court, or maybe wana feel kwamba the child atakuwa better off akiwa pia supported with the other person, but let that consent also come from the man. Let now the woman at the end and decide ni kule huku na huku. Definitely that's a recipe for chaos, and at one point in time one of these men will have to leave. Yeah.
You know Gladson, this lady is saying huyu mwanaume hajampa any support. He doesn't contribute anything concerning the child, but now he forcefully wants to take the child.
Now, now that's a different perspective altogether. Because if you don't support a child, it means the reason you are called a father is because you are a provider, you're a protector. There is something making you to look like a father. But other people, they're just people who just maybe got you pregnant, evil, but they're not fathers. So kama yeye hawezi support this child when she is with the mother, hakuna any guarantee that he will do that once this child amepelekwa huko. Some of these men, they just want to take this child, maybe kwa mama yao huko, akae huko. They just want to say, mimi nionage mtoto wangu akiwa pale, but you're not supporting. So if you are a father and you really want to be a father, the only thing that you do need, you support this child from wherever they are, unless you feel this mother is a danger to the child. But if there is no danger, ya huyu mtoto kukaa na mama yake, it's just important because also from the emotional and everything perspective, sisi men, we rarely give too much attention to the child as compared to women. Women are at a better place in terms of taking care of a child and stuff like that. So it is best this man, chenye afanye ni, let him support the child. Wacha afike a legal age whereby the child can decide for himself. Niendelee kukaa na madhe ama nitaenda kwa father. But as long as the child ni mdogo and the woman is not a danger to the child, the best thing to do ni abaki hapo, but the man, let him now be the father.
All right, Gladson, you're talking about what the man should do, right? But Frank, what should this lady do? Because that is her concern, yeah? She's saying, what should I do? Jua tuko in good terms, and this guy is not supporting me in any way, but he wants my child. So unaona afanye nini in terms of custody for this child? What should she do?
I think it's a challenge, yeah? Because we don't know why there is a child in between and they're not together. That's the first thing. The second thing, now that they are not in good terms and they're not living together, I think there are some legal ways, or they can get in a third-party person for them to sit on a table and discuss. Now that you want this child and you've not been taking care of this child, because as a man, I believe for you to be called a father, like for you to sire a child, for you to give out pregnancy, you should be ready to take care of that child. In fact, I'm always very tough on men who don't take responsibilities. That is your child. Imagine siring a child here, leaving, getting to another lady, siring another child. So what they should do, they should find a way of getting on a table so that a man also is given a chance maybe to discuss it. Maybe there may be other reasons why this man is not taking care of this child, which maybe we don't know. So I think they should get into somewhere, maybe get a third-party person, maybe through church, through legal maybe offices, so that they can talk and agree on that.
Doctor, any comment on that?
I agree with all of the saying. A man needs to take responsibility, but any child is better off with the mother, unless the mother is a chaotic woman. But from this lady, anasema hapatagi support. So I think at this particular moment, the legal way would be the easiest, because even the court process will look who has been taking care of, where were you? If the man was not available and now he wants to be available, kwanza atapewa custody, ataambiwa kazi ya kuprovide kwanza. Akishaanza anajua kuprovide, aonekana ameprovide for a long while, anaweza pewa maybe weekends. But otherwise it would be wrong just to say, so the advice I would give to the lady is just like what I said. There are children support offices where she can be able to go to, and present that case. So ndio huyo man aitwe pale, aambiwe this is what we have agreed, mtoto atakaa na huu mama mpaka at this particular age, ama mnaweza enda na hawa watoto over the weekend ama during the holiday, then unawarudisha. And it is enforceable by law. If he breaks it, then the law takes course.
And you know, we had a call here from Annette from Wanjiru, from Ruaka. Sorry about that.
Yes.
And you know, she mentioned something about changing behavior. She was being shown so much love, wakianza, and then ikafika point stop. Then what now happens when there's now this changing behavior? There's a point anakuwa pia tracked, ameachana na huyu, but bado anafuatwa kazini. What happens in that situation?
No, I will say this. If a lot of people change when they get married, kuna kuwaga na kitu nyingi kuwaga inaitwa mazoeano. So watu wakizoeana, maybe the lady when she got the baby, there are things she stopped doing to the man. And the man in his head began to see maybe she has gotten another person. So I think what they need to get to the table is for this man to be on the table and have a proper communication. Why are you pursuing me or following me to the office? He has reasons. They could be genuine, or they could be overthinking, as he said. He's overthinking. Ndio aweze kuwa assured because he's afraid. This guy is pursuing the lady to the office because he's afraid of losing her. And so as a woman also, you need to ask yourself, what did I stop doing when probably I got my child? And you see, most of the times, most ladies lose their husbands, and it should not be so, after wakupata mtoto. Because the child takes all the attention. And you see, men don't understand. Unakuja nyumbani, unaambua mtoto analia. Usiku, songe mtoto so the word mtoto becomes everywhere. Just like he gave an example and said, if another man is being discussed in that house every day, something goes off. So women also have to understand, don't lose yourself to the child 100%. Also remember that your husband is still there. Number 2, to the husbands, remember that when a woman gets a child, the maternal instinct kicks in. So she may tend to ignore you. So usiangalie hiyo uanze kusema the woman is cheating on you or something like that. So there has to be a balance. It is for men to understand what happens when women get babies, and for women to also to understand that something is also triggered. There's like a jealousy that is triggered in men. Anaangalia mtoto na nyonya na this is mine. Na anaanza kusikia kawivu huko, lakini akase kwa sababu it will look crazy. So true. There's a guy, there's a place where a question was asked. The man was confessing. He was saying, I see my son sucking maziwa. He gets angry with the son. He's like, come to kameniharibia mama mingi sana. And he was being genuine. And we had to address it. So there are people who get that. There are men who feel like this one has come to take my place. So ladies and gentlemen, let us have what we call balance in that time. And have conversations. Assure each other that you love each other. Otherwise, kutakuwa na shida.
All right, now, due to the interest of time, let's get our final thoughts on this topic. Grace, I'll start with you. Final thoughts on toxic relationships?
As Alia said, if you get into the wrong bus, please alight at the nearest station. A bad decision now is far much better than a good decision tomorrow, because indecisiveness paralyzes us in all ways. Another thing, we are all a work in progress, so maybe please have tolerance to, as Daktari has said, usishtuliwe and then the next minute you're out. And as us, like even on a personal level, I think I read a quote, so I think this was yesterday, and it was saying sometimes we think love is finding the right person, but love is you becoming the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. So the work begins within us. I am an advocate for personal work, like you do the inner job yourself first, and then you might, if you, in most cases, yeah, you will find the person, you will find someone who has equally worked on themselves, and now you will sail smoothly. But if you decide to ignore the things or to hold other people to standards that you cannot hold yourself to, then it becomes an uphill task.
Interesting. Asante sana for that. Corazon, your final thoughts?
People should seek premarital counseling before engaging in marriage, and then make decisions that will not affect your kids as early as possible, and don't ignore the red flags. So when you see it, run away as fast as possible. And for workplace toxic relationships, if it's not good for your mental health, you can quit and look for something else to do. There's self-employment. There are a lot of things you can do for the sake of your mental health, because if your mental health is deteriorated, your health, you will develop ulcers, pressures. Those are long-term chronic illnesses. So avoid them as early as possible. Yes.
Thank you for bringing in the workplace aspect. We'll talk about that into length some other time. But Gloria, what are your final thoughts on this, now that you're also a survivor of SGBV, right? GBV. So maybe you could tell us that, your final thoughts.
Okay, my final thoughts are if you realize that you're in such relationships, please walk out of those relationships as early as possible, because if you don't walk out early, it will actually bring issues, mental issues, psychological issues. Yes, because I know I took time to walk away, so I actually have PTSD, but I'm on therapy. But yes, so just walk away as early as possible and seek mental help. Yes.
Asante sana. Frank, your final thoughts, especially to your fellow men.
Okay, I'll say this. Before getting into a relationship, build a friendship bond between the two of you before getting into a love relationship. In that friendship zone, as a man or a woman, act like a football coach. A football coach, imagine training your team for 4 to 5 days. And then your team gets into a match. Within the first 20 minutes, your team is down to 3 goals. As a coach, you will always be able to analyze every player before the first half ends. When the first half ends, you'll get every player's mistakes and corrects. When the second half starts, maybe on the 75 minutes, maybe it will be 4-3. So as you get into relationship, have a coach mind. Thank you.
Awesome. Gladson, what are your final thoughts as we close?
Yeah, the first one I'll say is that any relationship that you do before the age of 25 is an experiment. And in an experiment, anything can happen. So you expect so many lows, so many highs, because you're still learning. And in that period is whereby you'll notice a lot of toxicity manifesting. So be keen, be strong, and also number 2, when dealing with people, expect anything. But don't think that anyone is an angel. Always see anyone as a potential GBV perpetrator. And anything can happen at any time. It will save you from a lot of damage, and also it will just tell, nilijua atafanya hivyo. So it won't like damage you too much. And lastly, let us work on improving ourselves. Don't go into a relationship thinking of this person as a responsibility of improving me. The role of improving self, it's on you. Wewe as a person. Yeye ako pale kama support system. He is not your number 1. You are the number 1 priority. So if you feel like this thing is not working for me, it doesn't have to work for him or her. It has to work for you. So if it's not working for you, run before it is too late. Yeah.
All right. Now, Daktari, the nilijua tu mindset, of course, and this should also, you'll insert your final thoughts there. Nilijua tu mindset, is it the right way to live as you close?
One thing I'll say, we need to get into relationship with hope. Because there is so much negativity outside that most people are getting into many relationships with one leg outside. So we need to get in hope. Number 2, we need also to prepare ourselves. And it is both. That even when you get into a relationship that may lead to marriage, start navigating through it by learning. Because become a lifelong student. That's what I say. Become a lifelong student of marriage, and you will see a lot of things. You can even be able to overcome the red flags. The final one is on communication. And I will say, look at what has happened in this set. Nobody was talking anyhowly. You would call the name and they would speak. If all relationship would behave the way we have behaved here, I'm telling you, each one would work. Where just you wait until the other persons finishes what they are saying, and also understand what they are talking about, because every question you asked here, everybody understood. And so if you are able to ask and have a conversation on a table with the soberness that we've had over here, let me tell you, the toxic relationship will come to an end, because that's the foundation, lack of communication. So I wish everybody the best. And work on your toxic relationship before bailing out, especially if you're married. But if you're not married, trend now carefully. Possibly ukiona haiwezi work, toka kwa hiyo basi.
Yeah. So thank you thank you so much to my panel. That is Dr. Julius Kimani, a counseling psychologist, and we have Gloria Kimani, Perez Corazon, Grace Kimaru, Frank Okanga, and Gladson Obwamu. Thank you so much for making time for this incredible conversation. We hope to have it in length some other time, because we haven't touched on so many things, professional, familial, so many things. So thank you so much for watching. That brings us to the end of Morning Cafe. Fred and I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Stay positive, stay active, and do keep it TV 47. Good morning.